Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Bean here, and today I'm coming at you with one of my favorite videos to do each month, and that is the anticipated releases video. Now today I'm going to be going through some of my top releases for February of 2021. Now I was surprised because I had thought that there weren't a lot of books coming out in February, but there are a whole handful. And several of them, I want to say about half of the ones that I'm going to talk about today are actually debut novels. So that's also really cool, and I think that's really neat. So I'm very excited to be sharing these with you. I'm going to go by date. I actually have my iPad here, so I'm just going to put up a picture of the cover right here so you guys can see it. And then I'm just going to swipe through and talk about the different books that I have. All right, let's get started. All right, the first date that I'm going to talk about is February 2nd, which is the first Tuesday of the month. And that's actually next Tuesday, so these are very quickly coming out. And the first book I'm going to talk about is called A History of What Comes Next. This is the first book in a new series by Sylvia Nouvelle. This is a sci-fi thriller for fans of Blake Crouch and Andy Weir, and it is a dark satirical look at 1940s rocketry with an exploration of the amorality of progress and the nature of violence. Basically, it's seen through the eyes of women who were making the space program happen in this time and the men that were attempting to stop that. And yeah, so I think this sounds very interesting. This does sound like a very feminist novel, but it also sounds like it's going to be very scientific as well as far as science goes. And as far as rocketry goes, so that'll be kind of interesting. I don't know a lot about rocket science, but I still think that this could be a fun and interesting read. And I really do like this cover. This cover is very, I think it's kind of unique because we don't see a lot there's a blueprint for a rocket on the back, which you can't really see in this picture, but I think that's pretty cool looking. Now, I am going to be going through these books pretty quickly because there are quite a few of them, and I don't want to make this video super long. The second book I'm going to talk about is What Big Teeth by Rose Szabo, and this is a debut thriller. So this one, I absolutely love this cover, and if you watched my anticipated releases of 2021, this book was on there. So this follows a girl named Eleanor who ends up going home from the boarding school she attends to deal with her monstrous family. Literally, they're monsters. In order to save her family from a new person in town, she must accept her family full of monsters along with her own inner monster. And honestly, this just looks like a lot of fun. And it sounds like it's going to be a very intense and also very good thriller. So I am here for the thrillers. There are a surprising amount of thrillers coming out in February. I am intrigued by this. The next book is one that actually comes out on February 4th, and this one I find very intriguing because it's actually a spinoff of a true story. This book is called We Played with Fire by Catherine Barter. This is a reimagining of the story of the Fox sisters. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Fox sisters were two sisters who in 19th century America made a fortune by pretending to talk to ghosts. So they would make noises, they would create illusions. Basically, they were magicians that claimed that they could speak with ghosts and communicate with ghosts and that there were ghosts haunting them and such. This story is a spin-off of that, which is a true story. So this follows two sisters who move to the middle of nowhere, a farm town, or they move to a farmhouse and they get bored. So they start making noises and pretending there are ghosts in the house and telling everyone there are ghosts in the house. And then all of a sudden the house starts making noises back at them, which I think sounds amazing. And this cover, it kind of makes me happy because it's got that old feel, but also the newish kind of writing style, so I am very excited for this one. This one does come out on a Thursday, so it is a bit of a weird one like that. I've got like 6 pages of books here, so just so you know, that's what kind of video you're in for today. Next day I'm going to move on to is February 9th, and the first book is The City of the Uncommon Thief by Lynn Bertrand. This is a fantasy that honestly, I just absolutely love the cover, and anything that has the word thief in it, I will check it out just to see what I think, because I want to know about, I like books about thieves. That's one of the tropes that I really like, is thieves. But this is the story of a quarantined city gripped by fear and the war that can free it. This town has a bunch of different rules that everyone has to follow, but when one guild master ends up breaking the rule in order to save a child, the entire town has to suffer the consequences. So I think this one sounds very intriguing, and this cover is absolutely gorgeous, friends. It is just, it is so pretty. It is so pretty. I cannot get over it. Okay, I'm going to move on now. The next book, I am super excited about this one. As soon as I read the description, I was just like, I don't need to know anything else about it at all. Nope. So this is Fireheart Tiger by Eliette de Bodard. And this is a romantic fantasy that is described as the Goblin King meets Howl's Moving Castle. That is literally all I need to know. And that's actually all I do know about this, other than it takes place in a pre-colonial Vietnam? Like a Vietnamese-esque world. So I think this sounds absolutely amazing, and I'm a sucker for Howl's Moving Castle. It's one of my favorite books. All of the sarcasm, all of the sass, all of the magical characters. It just makes me so happy. Okay, moving on. This next one is one that we actually have all been looking forward to for quite some time, and this is Game Changer by Neal Shusterman. Now, we went and saw Neal Shusterman live last year. He came and did a signing right before the pandemic started, so right before we were all on the stay-at-home order. But we went and saw him, and we were super lucky to do that. This is his newest release. This one follows a football player whose name is Ash, and he's a high school football player who has some very set ideas on how life should be. And one day he is tackled so hard in football that he is sent into another dimension. And his whole worldview changes because of that. I mean, let's be honest, whose worldview would not change from being sent to a different dimension? But not the point. One, this cover is gorgeous. Two, Neal Shusterman is a brilliant author and a brilliant man in general, and I want to read all of his books. And three, I just want to read it. So I think this premise sounds super interesting and super intriguing, because I hadn't really heard about this kind of concept before. Being hit so hard in a sport that you're sent to another dimension. I don't know. That sounds super intriguing to me. So I am excited for this one. Next day that we are moving on to is February 16th. And the first book I want to talk about is Amelia Unabridged by Ashley Schumacher. Now, this is a debut magical thriller, like contemporary style sort of book. It gives me Sadie vibes just from the cover, but this follows Amelia and her best friend Jenna, who are completely obsessed with a book series. And then Amelia is actually given the opportunity to go and meet the enigmatic author. And when Jenna is not given the same opportunity, the two end up having this really big fight. And while this fight explodes and they don't talk to each other for a while, before they're able to make amends, Jenna is killed in a car accident. So Jenna basically starts questioning everything about her life, everything that's going on. And when a mysterious and very rare edition of their favorite book comes out, she decides that it is actually a sign from her friend Jenna. And she makes the trek to go and try to find this book. And it turns out it is in some very mysterious and strange little bookstore in Michigan. Because why not? And while she's there, she ends up meeting the author, and she learns a lot about herself and about her friend and why they were arguing. And I wonder if this actually just spoiled the entire book, in all honesty. That's my slight concern about the summary that Goodreads gave me. But I think this cover, for one, also is gorgeous. This is such a beautiful cover. And the description on here says, it's never too late to start a new chapter, which is so true. But I also am getting hints that there might be some romance in this as well, so I'm also intrigued by that. But I think this sounds so good. A book that's mostly about friendship and books and mysterious bookstores and magic. And I'm here for it. I like it. I like it a lot. So, yes, that is the first book on February 16th. The next book that I'm talking about also comes out on February 16th, and that is The Wide Starlight by Nicole L'Esperance. And now this is about, this is a magical realism story that I am super intrigued by. And it follows a 16-year-old named Ellie who is basically trying to figure out what happened to her mother. Her mother disappeared when she fell off of a glacier in Norway under the Northern Lights. So naturally, Ellie ends up traveling to Norway and she attempts to figure out what happened to her mother. Now, what's unclear to me is whether or not the story starts in Norway or not, but the description talked about meteors and narwhals showing up where they're not supposed to be. And yeah, so I'm very intrigued by this. This is a gorgeous cover, again, with the beautiful covers on these books. I can't get over it. So this one sounds super interesting. I love magical realism, as you all know. So I'm very interested to see where this one goes. And now we're on to the final day. See, that wasn't too long of a video, but I did talk about lots of books. So for February 23rd, the first book I want to talk about is Sun Daughters, Sea Daughters by Amy Ogden. Now, this is a debut again, and this is a sci-fi reimagining of The Little Mermaid. Need I say more? There's a black market, there's gene-edited human clans, and there's the daughter of the Sea Clan's ruler that's our main character, that's like our Ariel. So I'm intrigued, and I have been wanting to read more sci-fi. So maybe I'll get into more sci-fi this year, because this spaceship right here, also, it's blurbed by Shauna Maguire, who is like one of my favorite authors ever. So I can't not bring this one up. I can't not. I have to. I just have to. It's just a thing. It has to be done. And the last book that I'm going to talk about that comes out on the 23rd is The Initial Insult by Mindy McGinnis. Now, this is the first book in a new series by Mindy McGinnis, and one of the main reasons that I'm looking at this one, we did meet Mindy McGinnis, and she is a lovely human being. I absolutely love her writing. It is so intense. Basically, that's why I want to read this book. And I actually was lucky enough to get an arc of this book. I have an audiobook version of this book, so that I will hopefully be reading that very soon, probably in February. So yeah, that's another thing to look forward to, friends. Yes. But basically what I know about this is that it is told in alternating points of view, and it is Edgar Allan Poe inspired, and I believe there is a zoo as well. I don't remember, though. I might be wrong about that, but that was my original understanding. And last but not least, I just have 4 honorable mentions that I'm just going to whip right through right here. The first one being Revenge of the Sluts by Natalie Walton. The next one, obviously, I couldn't not include The Desolation of Devils Ace by Ransom Riggs. This is the 6th book, and I believe the final book in the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series. This book doesn't even need introduction, but A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas, the 4th book in A Court of Thorns and Roses series, which I actually have not read. But it's not really my style of book. I'm working through Throne of Glass first, and then I'll see how I'm feeling about the series. And the last one is Of Wicked Blood by Olivia Wildstein and Katie Hayes. And this one is about cursed objects. So cursed objects that attract curses. So yes, again, another first in a series. And that is what I have for you guys here today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe. We post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And if you want to be reminded when we post these videos, please hit the little bell icon down below. All of our contact information is down in the description, and I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. What books did I miss? What is your most anticipated release of February? Or what is your most anticipated read as well? I want to know what you guys are reading. My TBR game should be up next week, I believe it is. Or the week after, one of the two. I don't remember when we have it scheduled for, but it will be up soon, so you guys can look forward to that. And yes, so until next time, guys, I hope you stay safe, stay healthy, and keep reading. Bye! My hair has been weird. I don't know what it's doing.